Revie might have been dressed to kill, but Liverpool refused to die. They were closing in on the league leaders as a faltering Leeds, unsettled by their manager's doubts, strung together a run of draws after the Stoke defeat. All of which meant, to all intents and purposes, the clash of the clubs looked like a championship decider. It was an occasion tailor-made for the lucky suit.
That was the game, you know, in those days. The Liverpool game was always the game that everybody looked forward to. They would look forward to it, we would look forward to it. And you'd realise that, you know, it was going to be a right scrap. They knew if they could put one over on us, they'd have a fair chance of winning a league championship.
No doubt aided by Revie's host of lucky charms, Leeds recovered. By the 20th of April, Don Revie and his players were again within touching distance of the title. If Liverpool dropped a point against Arsenal, then it was all over.
When the phone call came through from Anfield that Arsenal had beaten Liverpool 1-0 and Leeds United won the championship, there was only Kimmy and I here. Elsie was away playing golf in Sheffield, and Kim and I just sat down and cried.
And so Leeds went into the closing game of the season already champions. But there was the small matter of standing ovations and celebrations.
As a young lad coming from Scotland, I just thought this is the way it's going to be every year, year after year after year. And I was to find out not so long afterwards, and wait a minute, this team is a bit unique and this just doesn't really happen that often.
Don Revie's Leeds career had spanned 16 years. The squad his family had built from scratch had matured into one of the finest football teams in Europe. He had joined as a player in 1958, became manager in 1961 with Leeds in Division 2, and left them as league champions in 74. Because when the England job was offered, the great man knew his time had come.
Very, very sad, because when you get attached to a club like I've got attached to this one, and built the family atmosphere, you get very attached, but yes, it'd be a sad day.
I think it would have been a bigger shock for the younger players, you know, the boys that were 15, 16, 17, because he was still that father figure to them, you know. But it was a big disappointment. I think it would have been a bigger disappointment if Don Revie would have left and went to another club.
It was good and sad, because it was good that we'd won it, and it was sad because it was one, Don was leaving, two, one or two of the lads knew they were going to be going. I don't think he wanted to be involved with telling Billy and telling Johnny and telling Norman that it was time to go. You know, I think he thought, I'll let somebody else do that. Probably people would think, well, it's a cowardly way out. But no, I don't think so. I think that was probably respect for them, that he didn't want to be the one.
Funny game football. At the season's opening, outspoken Derby County manager Brian Clough had called for Leeds to be relegated. Less than a year later, he became their new boss.
Don Revie and Brian Clough, as everybody knows, didn't get on well together. Brian Clough didn't particularly like Leeds United as players, didn't like the club as such, and then all of a sudden he's there and is your manager.
And basically he told everybody what he thought about Don, and that wasn't a lot. He told them what he thought about the players, and that was nothing. So he came in on the wrong foot and it just never worked for him.
Clough's reign lasted just 44 days. With Don Revie gone, his team broke up. Joe Jordan and Gordon McQueen would eventually leave for Manchester United, Norman Hunter to Bristol City, and Billy Bremner to Hull. Things would never be the same again at Elland Road.
But I still think that team broke up a little bit too early. I still think they could have played for another few seasons ago.
I didn't realise until I left Leeds that there were bad footballers out there, you know, people that were useless really compared to what I'd been playing with.
It just happened in that year that everything flowed. We were physical, we didn't want to lose, we were great players, we had a great side, and we had a great 74.